All right. Can you hear me? You there?
I hear you. I hear
Okay.
you.
Well, I mean, we've had some challenges
Yeah.
this week.
We still have challenges. My power is not out, but my Wi-Fi is out. So
Really?
yeah, but because this is my phone, I was still able to do it.
Ah, okay. Okay. Um, well, we were supposed to do this a couple of weeks ago, right? And we had the hurricane come through, and we were without power and without internet for a couple of days. And so that kind of threw things into a frenzy, right? And then we rescheduled today, right? And I'm thinking we're all good, when our schedules permit, because I know you're busy, I'm busy. And so, we decided to reschedule this today. And next thing I know, I'm at home working and I hear this loud boom, transformer blew up and the power went out at the house. So now I'm here sitting in the library, because committed to making this thing happen, right? And we scrambling. So like, okay, what are we gonna do? I said, well, look, I'll do it from the car. It don't matter. We just need to find the local, because everything went out, the internet, everything, right?
Wow.
So we couldn't, you and I, we couldn't do this from the house. And just so that people know, I'm in Houston, and you are
In Charlotte.
right. So made it kind of challenging. So, we hightailed it over to the library and I got in one of these rooms. And these rooms are not soundproof, right? So they're like, the rooms are not soundproof. So as long as you can hear me and I can hear you, we can go
I
ahead and
hear
proceed
you.
with this thing, right? Okay, good. We're going to just go ahead and just do what we got to do.
Right, because we know that's what the enemy does. Sometimes he tries to stop you, but especially when you're trying to get a message out. So undefeated.
We ain't letting that happen.
Thank you.
And that's how we roll, because you remind me a lot of that sometimes. In our discussions, I know when we're talking, we have a tendency to pick one another up when
Right.
we're going through it. And we've been going through it a lot lately, right?
Yes, we have.
Yeah. I don't want to go down this road, but, our mother, our lovely mother, who my sister takes care of, she's her caretaker, and she's suffering from dementia. And it's a struggle. It really is a struggle. And so we need those close connections, because sometimes I know I'm just, talking to you, Nick, I can feel what you're going through at times,
Right.
I know it's rough. Yeah. And then, but that's not why we're here. Let's not belabor that. Yeah. Because, we ain't going to go down that road.
No, it just was a challenge. The reason why you somewhat brought it up, because not only am I dealing with that right now, but we've had our dog for 16 years and he's not doing the best either. So I'm dealing with that as well. And it's almost like him and my mom are holding on to each other, and I'm watching both of them, you know.
Yeah.
But that's one of my biggest challenges right now, on top of work, on top of life itself. But what we have been doing, keeping each other inspired and things like that. So it's okay. We'll get through
That's
it.
good. Well, I'm here. Whenever we pick up. We talk every day, so um, I'm here for you. Just know that always. And then I'm gonna try and make it up there soon too, because I think it's about that time for me to make another visit. So,
Well, I know you got a lot going on right now too, though.
huh?
I know you do have a lot going on, so
Yeah, yeah. But we'll see each other in Buffalo
we will. We
on the
will.
27th.
excited. One week,
Yeah.
a week away, basically, almost,
Yeah.
in 2 days.
So let's highlight that for a moment. One of our friends from high school lives in Charlotte. Trevon, everybody know her as Fruit, right? Want to give
Hmm.
her a big shout out. She's doing a women's conference called Women on Fire, and she asked me if I would be one of the keynote speakers in Buffalo, and it's on the 27th,
Right.
Saturday the 27th. You can look at on my Facebook page and see where to get tickets. Tickets are on Evite, I believe it's called. And
Yeah.
yeah, so so we're both flying in just for the day. And thank you for coming to support me. I really appreciate that. You know,
No problem.
uh, yeah. So that's cool. Um, let's get into what we were going to talk about today. We talked about a lot last time,
We
and
did, and I hope, if nothing else, somebody at least took what we said and took advantage of some of that information and at least went and opened a retirement fund.
Mhm.
At least that. At least. Or if you haven't even started 401k at your job, at least start there. At least
Yes,
start there. Those were some of the things that we talked about last time as far as financials. And one of the other things that we talked about, Rodney said that he joined church. I just wanted to mention this time that I took the opportunity to join church as well. So I am currently a member of Mount Olive Missionary Baptist Church here in Charlotte. Well, it's actually located in Huntersville. The pastor is Frederick Mills. He's actually one of the deacons from one of the churches that I joined in Buffalo. So it
right.
was good to see, a familiar face. And I actually love it. One of the things that he talked about was one of the things that inspired Rodney and I's conversation today, um, which was kind of about love.
Love, yeah. Well,
Right.
but before we get into that, I got to give my church a shout out. Okay.
Okay. You
Uh,
didn't give me a hand clap. I gave you a
okay.
hand
All
clap
right. All
last
right.
time. Yeah.
I'm in the library, so I got to be. I can't.
Softly. You could we
Okay.
see you. We
All right.
see you. Yeah, there you go.
Y'all see how she holds me accountable, right? It's all good. It's all love. Give me a hand clap.
Right. We
Um,
close to God. We getting closer to God.
yeah, yeah,
I want
yeah.
my hand clap.
So I'm a member of, well, my family and I, we are a member of the Fort Bend Church in Sugar Land, Texas, with Pastor Byron Stevenson. And I want to say that I've gone to many churches throughout my life, but this is the first one that I've ever officially joined. And it was just a message, that day of don't keep going back to what God called you out of, right? And that was important enough to send me a strong message to keep moving forward with my business and don't go running back to the corporate world. You can help way more people, have an impact on way more people doing what you do.
You making me feel like we battling because I'm ready to talk about mine again.
No, but I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna ask you to go ahead and say what is it that you admire the most about the church that you joined? Because I'm looking forward to attending your church when I visit, and when you come to Houston, I'm looking forward to you attending my church as well.
Yeah, it's a few churches I want to go there. I don't know how I'm gonna do it.
Well, you got to hit ours first.
Of course.
Okay. So what is it that you admire most about your church?
Because I'm always left with a word. And
Mm.
I'm normally not a note taker, and I'm finding myself taking notes. When I told you before, you and I talked about it, I was like, I'm not a writer, or I don't even care about reading. Not that I don't read, and I said that before, but I'm finding myself
A
coming
lot
out of
more.
my shell, I guess, because I write a lot. I take a lot of notes in church now, and a lot of it inspired me to start talking about it. So when I started sharing it with Rodney, it just took us to a much larger conversation, um, which was about love. My pastor talked about the ingredients to love, and I never heard anything like that. So I was like, oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
So it made me write it down. And then I thought, so let me just say this, and I know it's a lot of people that is in the word and they may be watching. Don't judge me, please. But I don't know scriptures like that. But I do know God. But I'm not familiar with scriptures like that. So the following week, when I went back to church, the pastor told us to, open your Bibles to this page. And so now I told y'all I'm a note taker now. So I looked and I'm like, oh, pastor don't realize that he got the wrong notes. He looking at last week notes. Now, this is what I'm saying to myself, but Lord and behold, soon as I said that, in my mind, the pastor said, I know some of y'all think that this is last week notes, but no, this week we're going to talk about what love is not. And I was like, oh my goodness. And it was just so touching that, it really, really helped me see love and from a whole nother angle. Just, when you look at it the way God look at it, and when you look at it, how would he say what's not love? And you think about some of the behaviors that I personally display, and I'm like, wow, that's not showing love. That's not of God. So now it helps me have it helps me think about what I say to somebody else. It helps me think about how I react to them. My conscience bothers me now.
Wow, really?
Yes. So it was very inspiring, because if you don't know, you don't know.
Right,
So
right.
now that I do know, guess what? Reach one, teach one.
And that's what you've been doing.
That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, the conversations. So talk to us about. You said you have a better understanding now of what love is and what it is not.
Hmm.
So tell us what you learned through that. Like,
Like what love and what it is not.
yeah. Just like you said, I'm guessing that you had some revelations about it, right? Like, because you did say that, man, I act like that. That's not of love, right? So you had
Right.
epiphany.
You know what? I wrote a poem about it. Want me to read it to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you read it to me already, but yeah, share it with the audience.
Well, you didn't have to tell everybody else that. You could have just went along with it, Rodney.
Beautiful, but it's beautiful. I mean,
But you were supposed to act like, yeah, read it.
yeah, but you know what? I'm
You
gonna tell
weren't
you this.
supposed to say
No,
you shared it with me.
no, but I gotta. But check this out, though. See how y'all see how she does it. But listen, I gotta be honest with you. I had no clue how talented of a writer you are. I'm serious. So just read your poem and let the audience be the judge. Read your poem.
Well, it's based off of what I learned from church, and it's based off of what love is and what love is not. And I just put this together just because I like writing now, and I didn't realize that I did. But love is an intense feeling of deep affection, also known for its protection. Love teaches you to be kind, never leave someone else behind. Love teaches us to trust, so avoiding envy is a must. Love rejoices in the truth, so never keep a scorecard of someone else's wrongdoing. When you find true love, always put God first, and only then will you regain hope. That is my
Wow.
poem, my love poem. And why I wrote that is because it tells what love is and what love is not. And I loved the way that the pastor taught us that. So one of my favorites is keeping a scorecard of someone else's wrongdoing. And when I said this last time when we were on live, what I said was the saying, I forgive, but I don't forget. Well,
Mm,
that's keeping a scorecard. And I never realized that. That's why it was interesting to me to learn, what love is and what love is not. So, um, because I kept scorecards. and, and I did, because I may have forgiven people, but I didn't forget. You know what I mean? And it's not that it's if God held me accountable the way that I was holding them accountable, then I would not have received a lot of the blessings that I received. So I am learning to try to think more, have a more open mind of, just like that saying, I know this is old, but
mhm,
this is really, I really, really keep this fresh in my mind. What would Jesus do?
mm. Yeah, yeah. So you're looking at it from a place, from a position of love. You know what's interesting about that, and what comes to mind for me is, and I know we're going to get into this later on. We're going to talk about the communication part of it, of love, right? And one of the things that I always find interesting is that people sometimes will say certain things, and I'm not sure if it is the right thing, right? And one of those things that I hear a lot is, I'm just brutally honest. People say that all the time. I'm just brutally honest. To me, that's almost like an introduction for you to say, I'm about to disrespect you. So this is who I am. This is how I'm going to communicate it. And the hurtful part about that is the hurtful part about that is when you communicate something just to get off your chest, and it's not looked upon how you're communicating, then the message a lot of time gets lost.
Well, we talked about that last time, because I told you, depending on how someone says something to me, I don't really get the message. And it can be something that can be very beneficial to me. I may need to really hear it. But if you communicate it to me in the wrong manner, I'm not getting the message, because I'm too stuck on how you said it to me.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I hear is the tone.
And that interestingly, that's a trigger for us Lawsons, us and our siblings. When when things are communicated to us in a disrespectful manner, derogatory manner, we have a tendency to want to clap back, right?
But I'm learning, what would Jesus do?
Right. No, yeah, me too. And hold on, because we talked about that.
Because guess what? Guess what? Them people are not blocking my blessings anymore. I can't let it happen. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think, stay very calm, say whatever you want to say. Because the moment I feed into whatever you're saying,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I've matched your energy, and I don't want to be that person anymore. I don't want to be that person anymore. Mm-mm,
mm-hmm.
I
No,
don't.
no, I feel you on that, and I'm kind of the same way. And for me, um, I try to compartmentalize everything, right, into different categories and situations, and that's what helps me deal with it. And once I understand fully who someone is, and it's just by reading their values, right, because there's no mystery behind it. A person's actions are rooted to their belief system, and that is rooted to their values. So if I understand your values, then I understand what you believe, and I understand how you're going to act. And that tells me how to move accordingly with you. They always flow in a straight line. There's no inconsistency between the person's values, their beliefs, and their actions. And that's why one of the things that I shared with Brianna, my daughter, early on is, when you when you start dating, find out what that man's values are. and you will understand so much about whether this is someone you should get close to or not. And, you know, because people get infatuated in relationships by the bravado, the um, the glam, the, you know, all of this um, um, this swag. You know what I mean? And they get blinded by the swag. It's like they have rose-colored glasses on with the swag, and they see that, but they don't take the time to start really understanding what the values are. Then, when the relationship, the honeymoon period kind of wears off, that's when you start to really see the values. So check this out, right? For my female friends out there, when you date a guy, the first time you go out to dinner with him, watch how he treats the waiter or waitress. Watch how he interacts with the other people in the restaurant. Watch how he interacts maybe with the valet guy. Or if you going, I mean, you could be going through the drive-through at McDonald's. Watch how he interacts with the cashier at McDonald's. Those things will tell you a lot about who that man really is. And for my male friends out there, same
Tell
thing.
me why. How? How him handing somebody some money is make, and I'm trying to understand. Like
okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you 2 examples. I'm going through a drive-through, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I have a new date in the car, right?
Okay.
We're going through the drive-through and we're getting something.
Or even let's not say the drive-through, because I'm really not gonna notice you. I am good with getting
No.
to know people.
Hold on. You're
I
not.
want to be out to eat. I didn't want to be at the drive-through, but go ahead. I'll go through the drive-through with the new guy. Go ahead.
Okay, in the drive-through, because this makes it more difficult, and
Okay.
I want a difficult situation to
Okay.
really bring this home.
Okay.
So we're going through the drive-through, right? You're in the
Okay.
passenger seat. I'm in the driver's seat. We're new.
Okay.
This is our first date. We're going out, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to the cashier, and the cashier says that'll be $15.75. $15 for 2 burgers. Now you watching me. What is your impression of me if my reaction to the cashier is that? Come on now. Come on.
Lord.
Why am I? Get me out this car.
I'm just thanking God I just haven't experienced that. That's all.
Okay, that's experience.
Well, you know what? Let me take that back. Yes, I have. That's a lie. I have.
Wow.
I've
Okay.
experienced that. I've experienced that.
So you've experienced somebody being rude to a cashier for no reason at all?
Yes.
Okay. See, that's what I'm talking
about. And it
about.
went right over my head.
What did you find out later on? Without giving any names, we're not here to.
I wouldn't do nothing like that.
No, okay. What did you learn though? Later on.
Well, I learned a lot of things. So we are not going. Let's talk about something else.
Okay. But you got my point though, right?
I love God.
But you got my point though, right?
I got your point.
Okay, because we can go through that.
Everybody else got.
Because hold on. I gotta close this out.
Okay.
We can go through that drive-through. You're in the passenger seat. I'm in the driver's seat. We can go through the drive-through.
So what was for the males? I wanted to hear.
Well, hold on. Remember I said 2 examples in the drive-through.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, you got the first one.
Yeah.
The second one, we're going through the drive-through, and the cashier says that's $15 and such cents. And I hand this out and I say, Ma, you look nice today. Just give a person a simple compliment, letting them know that I see them, that I recognize them. Or
you might get back tanned.
Really?
I'm just trying to tell you how I was. The hell you
No,
looking
no,
at her like that for?
no, no. Hold on, hold on. I never said it was a female.
You still might. What the hell you looking at him for?
You're
And you
missing the.
ain't complimenting me like that?
No, no. Listen. You're missing the point because if I'm complimenting someone in a nice manner, then my values should be that I have already complimented you several times. See, if you looking to backhand me because I'm complimenting someone else, that's the issue with you.
It is, because that's the type of people that I dated. You know what I'm saying, in my past. So those are
See,
my
I
those
know, but
were
listen.
my own insecurities with the people that I dated. But you're absolutely
Right.
right.
But that's what I'm saying.
The more mature person
Okay.
would say yes. Yes,
Okay.
you should be nice to someone else.
Let me ask you a
Now,
question.
now when I look at today, what would Jesus do? You should be complimenting another woman. I'm telling you how I would have probably reacted back then. But today, no, I wouldn't dare. What would Jesus do? That's my new thing. I'm back on that. That's what
Yeah,
everybody else need to get
here's
on.
here's what I'm saying. If we were in that same scenario, and you know
Mhm.
my wife, right? If we were in that same scenario, and I complimented someone in a drive-through, what do you think my wife would think or say?
Right now, today,
Right now, today, or any, yeah, just since you've known her, what you know of her.
oh, she is cute.
Yeah, it ain't difficult, right?
Well, that's what me
But
too
that's
today.
right. That's my point.
Today,
Well, that's where we are, right?
right. I'm just saying.
But we're trying to help. We're trying to help bring other people along.
Right.
Okay. I got a
But I
text
gotta
message
get there.
saying that.
That's not a good area, because I'm still working on me in that area.
Okay. We all are a work in progress. I'm
Yeah,
still
but
working.
you're further along in certain areas,
Yeah,
and
but we're
that's
not.
just not that's not that's not one of the areas that I am further along in where
But we're
you
not
are.
comparing. We're not here to
We're
compare.
not, but I don't that's just not an area that, I'm comfortable right now talking about.
Well, here's what we will continue to do
Okay.
is just as we've been doing is pulling each other along, helping each other.
You're right.
So let's go back to this the whole love part of it and the communication piece of it, right?
Okay.
Because here's another part of it. I don't know how many people are familiar with the love languages. So there are 5 love languages: words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, physical touch, and gift giving or receiving gifts. Okay. What a lot of people may or may not know is that different people have different love languages. And so they express themselves in ways of saying, I love you in their language. But if our languages are different, then the person that I'm expressing that love to with my language, they don't see it as love because they only know in receiving that same love in their language. So,
I think that's very interesting, because when I did learn um, that people have different love languages, it
mhm,
did help me understand a lot of my past relationships, especially if I didn't know their love language, but I'm pushing my love language onto them, and that's not how they're receiving it. It was interesting to find that out, different love languages.
that's what most people do, though. So,
Well,
you
I know.
are you open to sharing what your love language is?
Oh, sure. Mine is, I would say my love language is um quality time would be first. And then my second one would be receiving
Gifts.
yes.
Gifts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but quality time is mine. So if if I'm if I want quality time, but somebody else love language is acts of service,
mhm.
and they keep doing stuff for me, and I not that I'd rather you just sit here and be with me. Now, when we say quality time, because you had to help me understand that. It's a different I don't need you to just sit here with me. I need it to be beneficial to us to, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not talking because you can't have somebody that don't mind going somewhere. That's not quality time. I mean
Yeah.
quality time with
There's
me.
an emphasis on the quality of that,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct. So that was interesting to learn, that people have different love languages. So if you don't know somebody's love language, then it will be hard to stay in that relationship because you won't really be able to reach them until you learn what makes them happy.
Or
That
receive
was
from them.
interesting.
Right. It's tough to receive from them too, because they're practicing their love in their language and you're not receiving it because, for example, if someone
Right.
if someone was bringing you a bunch of flowers because they ain't spending time with you, what does that mean?
Nothing, because I don't want no flowers. I don't want nobody roses. Please keep them. Get me a gift card. I
You
like to eat places. I like to go out to eat. I don't care for roses. I love plants. I like to nurture things. Roses, all they're going to do is die. I can't nurture them. They're going to sit on my table and look pretty for a day or two. Then they're going to start withering. And then I don't want them. I'm not a roses person. I love my mom. I love, the name, but I'm not. I like plants. I would be happier with a plant. You brought me a plant, I might think you the world.
a cactus?
No, never mind. No. And I would tell you, no. Hex, no. No.
No, but you seen those
I don't
little
want no cactus.
you seen those little cactus plants?
I don't want that. No. Go get
But
a money tree.
it, it's the thought that counts though.
Well, think about something else because I don't want a cactus.
Okay, but the point behind this whole thing is um I don't want it to seem like you're looking at things just from a material standpoint,
Oh
right?
no.
Bring me roses.
I
Don't
just
bring
don't
me
like.
no.
I don't like roses. So I mean, if I was with someone, they should get to know me so that they can know that I don't like roses. Now the funny thing is practically a lot of people I've dated has gotten me roses. But I don't care for roses. I'm not and I know it was the thought that count. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
it was, I was grateful to get them, especially, at work. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
everybody's happy but I would have I'm not big on that.
Yeah.
Now now that they have the whole little edible fruits,
Mm-hmm.
I love the edible arrangements. Now I like stuff like that.
Okay. Okay.
So I would do something like that. But even gifts like that, yeah, that would make me happy. It's not about the what the gift is. It's just about gifting, period.
But quality
It's
time
not really amount, but quality time is what I would
supersedes
prefer.
all of that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. For me.
I got you. I got you. I think that's something that's important that we understand early on in the relationships because it tells you how to nurture that person and feed that person, right? If you are unable to do that, it makes the situation difficult. You want to know what my love language is?
What?
What do you think? If you had to guess. Well, I told you, didn't I? You probably already know.
I can't remember, Rodney. We talk about so much, to be honest with you. If I had to guess,
All
though,
right, yeah, guess. I'm gonna pull up something while you
I would say um, physical touch.
you got it. Physical touch is number one. And number two for me is actually gift giving as well.
Uh huh.
I receiving gifts and giving gifts. I love giving gifts as well. Um, what I found really interesting though is that our love languages sometimes can be attributed to what we went through in our childhood. So you said yours was first, it was
Quality time.
quality time, right? And
Mhm.
so what this what this says is, and this is not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, as a child, most people whose love language is quality time, they lack, it's in their childhood, they lacked attention. They feeling or felt alone. They felt invisible. They felt unseen or unheard.
And
And
you know what's funny is
can you relate
um,
to that though? Because yours is quality time.
I can relate to that. And it may not seem that way and it may not appear that way. But by y'all being such a distance from me, I
Say,
did.
well, tell the audience y'all. Who you mean by y'all?
Well, you and my siblings, it's four
Right.
of us.
Right.
And my sister is 4.5, almost well, five, some depending on what part of the year it is. I'll say 5, 6, and 7 years older than me. So that gap between us did
Mm-hmm.
have me feeling alone. And growing up, my sister made sure that I understood that I was the little sister. So a lot of things that I was able to do with her, I was forced because my mom like made her take me places and things like that. But that wasn't something I got to do all the time. Now, don't get me wrong. I may have been able to go to skating with you guys. But guess what? When I got there, I better find me something to do because you guys were going with your friends. So it still was, it was alone. I didn't have a choice but to find my own way. And I didn't find my own way until we actually moved on doors and I found me some friends.
You know, that's it's interesting you say that because I can see that now. Like when you first said quality time, and you told me this, when you told me not on a call here, but um, I was like, what? Really? I would have never thought that. But now that you explain it, that makes a lot of sense based off of what we lack in our childhood, right? And so mine being physical touch, it says that in your childhood, you lacked affection, discomfort around showing love, and avoidance. And I think for me, it goes back to my relationship with our father and
Right.
how I felt about that whole thing of being a rejection overcomer. Because there were just times uh, I felt like I wanted him to be there for certain things and he wasn't, and that affected me, right? Or you would ask for certain things and you'd get yelled at and cursed out, right? You just felt rejected. And so a lot of that, you have a tendency to want to kind of pull away to protect yourself. So,
I have to find my
what are you looking for? Come on, now we in the middle of
I know.
around.
I know.
I'm about to ask you another question.
And I feel terrible, but I have to get up.
Well, you're not missing anything. You look fine. Everything is.
No, I that listen, you see I got these glasses on this time. I was gonna make sure I was able to see. I even prepared myself so good for my hot flash just in case for you. I brought my little fan with me just
Okay.
in case I needed this. But let me tell you what I don't have.
What? Well, you
My,
got your
my
some.
charger.
Oh,
My
you're charging.
It's just right there though.
So your phone might die.
Well, if
Okay,
I
well
don't
look,
get up,
well look at
if I
this.
don't,
I'm gonna.
if I don't get up and get it, so just talk to me. You can keep talking. They'll still hear me, but I gotta get this charger.
Well, listen. You go ahead and get your charger, and
Okay.
I'm gonna answer some because I'm seeing questions on here where people are saying
Okay,
it's
that's
not
fine.
it's not going to Facebook, but it's on YouTube, and I'm not understanding. It's telling me that I'm live on Facebook, so I'm not understanding that. Uh, so I don't know what's going on.
What are you trying to do?
No, well, it's saying that it's not live on Facebook, but it's live
Okay.
on YouTube. It's live on YouTube, but it's not live on Facebook. But from what I'm seeing, it's live on Facebook and YouTube. So it'll probably upload later on. I am not sure about that, but we're gonna keep it pushing because we only have 19 minutes left, and I definitely want to get into talking about this whole communication piece that we were having this conversation about earlier.
Which
You
one?
remember that?
Which communication piece? I'm sorry. I'm not sure.
How how we at times communicate
Communicate.
to
Oh,
our children, to our loved ones, and it is in a not so um, appropriate manner.
not at
Even though,
all. And it's funny because one of the things that I used to say to, and it was like a joke, to say to my friends, like I would say things like my I would show them how my kids wouldn't listen. Um, okay. I heard you. Um, so anyways, what I was saying was, so one of the things I used to say to my kids were, um, they're saying not sure what's wrong. They were trying to get in, trying to join on Facebook, but for some reason it wasn't allowing them.
yeah, and I'm showing on StreamYard that it's live on Facebook and YouTube. But I know Ann has sent a couple of people to the YouTube channel where they can see and view.
I know.
So
I
we
don't know.
apologize for that. I have to figure out what is going on with StreamYard because I never had this issue before. Normally
Right. So
it up.
let me hurry up and get this out real quick
Okay,
though.
go ahead.
But what I was gonna say was, um, one of the examples that I used to show my friends was how my kids would not move if I said something nice. So if I said something like, can you go get me a glass of water, please? Nobody would move.
Even put the please on it.
Even put the please on it. Nobody would move.
Okay.
Then when I say, get your A up and get me, everybody's scrambling. And we used to laugh about that. And it's sad now because I at the time was thinking like, oh, they don't move until I start cursing. But yeah, that's because that's what I installed in them. That's what I installed in them from day one. So had I talked to them in a tone that was really coming from a genuine place
Of love.
of
Mm-hmm.
love, it would mean so much more. And that's what I'm learning. When you talk to somebody and you talk to them and it's coming from a place of love, then you tend to be able to reach them. But when you're coming from a place of anger, nobody gets your message. Nobody hears anything you're saying. And it's just totally different, and it's just crazy because of how the world is, period. um why a lot of us don't really realize how bad, once again, we need therapy because of the anger, because of how we talk to people. If you think about it, just think about how we as um African Americans feel disrespected from the law. Why? It's because of their tone. It's because of what they say to them. If they said those same things to them and they didn't use those tones of, I need to get this out because I'm, of authority,
Mm-hmm.
then I think the situations would be a lot more calmer. But that's part of the problem with communication overall, the
But
tone.
you know
Like,
what? There are two sides to that. I mean to cut you off, but there are two
mhm,
sides to that, right? If you are used to only receiving information harsh like that, then the person, and I'm not defending the police officers here, I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm just saying on the other side, if
no,
if,
right,
if someone is accustomed to only following orders when they're talked to that way, then they're not going to listen when the law, when the police officer says, "Hey, you need to, you guys really need to move it on. You probably shouldn't be here," and they're saying that in a nice tone, as opposed to say, "Y'all gotta go, get out of here," blah blah blah, 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 right? That rah rah, that's what you call it, the rah rah.
that doesn't make it better.
It doesn't. It does not.
All it did was just bring tension to the situation. So if that cop would have stayed calm and
Mm-hmm.
kept that regular tone, no matter what the situation the person was doing, it, if anything, I'm not matching your energy just because you're doing something wrong. And yes, I'm going to hold you accountable, but I'm not going to match your energy. So yes, the cop can still arrest them and tell them in a very nice manner, if
Right
you
there.
don't move, if you don't move, I'm going to have to arrest you.
See, what you did is you just followed what I call the effective coaching order. A lot of times when we coach people and we have to coach them on something that is constructive,
Mm-hmm.
we will communicate the expectations or communicate what they did do or what they didn't do. But what we leave out are the repercussions. So it works something like this. Instead of yelling, like what you just said, I say, look, I'm gonna really need for you guys to move from around here. There's an order of a whatever, right? The ordinance or whatever in the area. If you do not, you're gonna leave me no other alternative but to start arresting people.
Right.
And then if they don't move, you start arresting people. But you
Right.
said it calm, you said it nice, and you know what I mean? And so
Right.
that's the piece that's usually missing. And so instead of, yelling at the child and using a harsh language, it's best to communicate in a calm manner so that they get the message, but you also communicate repercussions if they don't follow. And if they don't follow, you just hold them accountable.
I'm learning.
It works every time. I mean, that's the model that I've used for 30 some odd years in the corporate world. I've helped a lot of people, like no one who has worked with me. This goes all the way back to the late 80s when I first got in management. No one has ever been able to accuse me of not being able to hold people accountable. But I've never treated anyone with the lack of dignity and respect while I was holding them accountable. Because it
Me
was all
neither.
about, and you hit the nail on the head, Nikki. You said something that was really important. Uh, I don't have to match your energy, or I don't have to match any energy. I don't have to prove like who I am because of a title, because of a position, because of this, because of that. No, I'm gonna talk to you just like I would talk to anyone else in a calm, meaner, calm disposition, calm body language. I'm gonna communicate what happened. I'm gonna communicate what's gonna happen if this continues or if this doesn't cease. Right?
Right. And that's what I'm trying to do. And that's why I am doing different things with my life, like I just explained, because, and I'm really trying to follow the model. Like I said, I know it's old, it's the old model, it's the old saying, but
Yeah.
I really think about what would Jesus do. And a lot of my behaviors he would not do. A lot of my feelings he would not feel. So I really try to apply that to my life right now. Um, and have I always done this? No, of course not. But this is where I am today. This is the path I want to follow. And the last message that I received was so interesting to me because it was like an eye opener, and it was something as simple as the pastor having you write down the word anything and then just stare at it.
Anything.
Anything, anything. And when you realize how powerful God is. Now I know that, and I don't mean to go down this path on live, but I just have to say this though.
Go
When
ahead,
you
get it out.
realize how powerful God is, and you realize that the word anything, do you realize how powerful anything, you can have anything, and all you got to do is just believe anything. That's like like you don't even want to believe that.
So what I hear you saying is that a lot of people, quote unquote, miss the blessings because
They
the
don't
faith,
believe.
yeah, the faith is not as strong.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not and here's the thing, it's so funny because I've been, I'm 51 years old and I can really sit here and say it's not nothing he hasn't given me I haven't asked for. Nothing. Now, did it come the way I wanted it? No, absolutely not. But he still gave it to me. Could I handle it when he gave it to me? No, but he still gave it to me.
Hmm.
So now I am learning to be very careful with what I ask for. That's all. Very careful what I ask for. He give
Well,
it to me.
well,
I just have to be very careful with what I ask for. So when I'm going to him, I have to really know what I'm asking for.
that's because some of the times things
And
just
what I wasn't asking for sometimes, I didn't mean to cut you off, that
okay.
what I didn't know, what I know now from going to church, learning the word a little more, is I didn't used to ask for it to be his will. This was my stuff I had going on. This is what I thought I needed or wanted. It wasn't God's will. And when I learned that, I understand the difference now. But what I didn't realize is when you ask for stuff like that and you tell him his will and then he removes stuff, you say, wait a minute, God. Well, what? I ain't got nobody. So you have to be prepared for it. Right. You have
Trying
to
to
be
mash on the brakes,
prepared.
right?
Right. Right. Like running back, like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so it's just interesting where he is moving us and the things that he's doing. But if anybody is interested, we can give you the love languages. I recommend that you learn yours, learn your partner love language.
Yes. So you can cater to
That
them.
is very important. I
Mhm.
think that you should try to well, I'm gonna keep saying seek therapy, but that's here nor there with everybody. I just feel like we all need it because
Well,
you may think you don't need it, but um,
but let's touch on that. Let's touch on that for a minute because a lot of people that looked at me growing up in the way that I grew up, and they like a lot of them see me as different from our siblings. I don't know why. We grew up in the same household and faced, the same things. We might have looked at it different, but they don't.
Because you left us for a little while, people feel like you got away, honey.
I
But they
left
don't
you guys
realize.
for a
Well,
while.
you left in high school.
Yeah. Yes.
So they think you did something different.
Well, I did, but
Yeah,
I
I know.
but I was different before that because the a lot of things that they were doing.
Happened to us. A lot of things that went on with our family while you were there.
Oh, absolutely.
So I know. I
Absolutely. I
mean,
mean, I can
I
confess
know
to that.
that,
Yeah.
but it does. You a lot. Some people don't even know who you are because you left, depending on where we met them in life. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So,
true. That's true.
mm-hmm.
That's true. I've come across a lot of individuals, from the Buffalo area that didn't know me, but they knew you guys.
Right.
They knew y'all had another brother, but
They just didn't
they
never meet you.
never met
Right.
because of that.
Right.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that they don't understand. A lot of the people don't understand what I went through still, and how that stuff in your childhood, it stays with you. And you talk about therapy, but I'll openly admit, yes, I went to therapy. I've seen, I'm on my fifth therapist. Fifth. you know and I got to tell you that each one of them was instrumental in helping me work through a certain situation. But it wasn't until this last one was the only one that really cracked the code on helping me understand my issue with daddy. And that's because the others, we were dealing with different things. Like I was going through a divorce at one point. I mean, they're dealing with different things, but everything rooted back to those issues with daddy. Until that was solved, I wasn't going to be solved. I was going to stay broken in some part. And because people saw, oh, he excelled in the educational field, he excelled in the corporate world, he's traveling the world, he's buying houses, he's got all like that. They don't understand how broken I was inside still. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
And
know
it was,
because
and
I
it was,
went through it
I
with
know
you.
but I'm just saying, it wasn't gonna heal. It wasn't gonna heal unless I started to go through, and I had to find the right therapist, right? I had to find one that went through what I went through, one who had grew up being abused, right, verbally, and had to get over a trauma and heal from that, right? Here I am. You said you're 50. Well, I'm 57, right? And I think I said this on the last call. I didn't forgive Daddy until April. This April of this year. So for 56, almost 57 years, because my birthday was in June, almost 57 years, I harbored and held that over him. Why were you like this? Why wasn't you there for me in certain situations? Why did I get to see my cousins and my friends and their dads doing stuff and you didn't? That still somewhat makes me emotional today. But at the same time, she got me to see that what he did was a blessing. Because had he not have done that for me, I don't say he done it to me anymore. Had he not have done that for me, it wouldn't have created my value system of you gotta treat people with dignity and respect at every turn in the corporate world.
Well, I'm gonna say this before we end this hour. I look at it a little different because I see how broken he was.
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't realize that I held anger over some of the things until I realized that he didn't ever get the right help he needed. Had he seek the right help he needed, he would have been able to help us. He couldn't help us.
But I blamed him because he didn't get help. Because I saw other people in situations like that who got help. And so that's why I couldn't get, my mind wouldn't let me get past that point, right? And then he passed away, so it's like you can't even, you know, that's why we need therapy though, because it wasn't until I went through therapy and really understood what happened and the magnitude of what was going on. And at one point, it was just like picture him as a little boy and being broken and not getting what he needed, right? I never thought about that.
Well, that's what helped me was realizing that he never got, you know, he never seeked the help that he needed. And yes, I understand what you're saying, that you felt like at some point in his life he could have changed, you know, who he was, but you can't, just like you just said, you held on to something and it took for you to seek therapy to find out, you know, to get past it. Well, we don't know what his trauma was. He didn't share a lot of his, you know, past. Well, I don't. Let me.
No,
just
he didn't share with any of us. I mean, mommy didn't even know.
So anyway, so I don't really know what he may have went through that he never got over.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that anger just, you know, was in him. And guess what? It carried over to us.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay. And the good thing is that regardless, we know now how to channel that energy.
And we're breaking that generational curse.
And yes, we are.
Yeah.
And we are sharing our story and not being shameful to share our story so that it can help someone else's story.
Absolutely.
So I know it's been an hour now, Rodney, and we're
gonna it's 2 after. We're gonna have to wrap it up.
Yeah, we are, because
we can go on for another hour.
And I don't know if people are familiar with sundowners. But sundowners is something that people with Alzheimer's and dementia has. Mm-hmm. So they're very busy around these times.
So you got to get to mommy. All right. Well, look, we love y'all. Thank you.
Love you. Thanks for joining. Again, we will try and do this again as long as you guys want us to. Yes. Eventually, you know, if you have questions, tell us. If it's something you want to talk about, if it's something that we talked about that you want us to elaborate a little more, say that. We don't have a problem with it. This is my second time, and I think, look at me. But yeah. So if it's up to you guys. If you want more,
we got it. All right. Love you, sis.
Love you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.